Hey, what's going on, Phillies and fellers? Brad the Guitologist here. In today's video, we're gonna do another Temu video and download the Temu app. You know, they've also got free shipping and free returns on all their stuff. Like if something arrives late even, they give you like some money back. So I'm gonna put the link to the app down in the description. It'll be right at the top of the description there if you wanna check that out. Also, there's a search code. If you use the code, you'll get a $100 coupon bundle. Yeah, I've done a couple of videos on their stuff in the past. We've gotten some really cool parts in. We built a guitar, we put a bunch of microphones on my drums. So yeah, while a lot of people might scoff at,
oh, it's just a bunch of cheap Chinese parts.
I mean, there's stuff on there that's really good. A lot of the stuff that I used on the Strat build that I did, I mean, I think it was pretty obvious that a lot of that stuff was really nice. Here's the deal. I've got a bunch more parts. We're gonna open this Temu bag right here. I've got a couple of necks as well. The problem with with necks and bodies on Temu that I've seen so far is that it's kind of hit and miss as to when they're available. So I just happened to see that these were available and I snatched them up really quick because look at this. Look at the flame in this. In both of these, I grabbed a Tilly and a Strat neck this time. But look at the quality of the wood here, man. This is not a joke.
It's not a joke.
These are really, really decent. Got abalone inlays. I wish they'd have selected a little bit more consistent of inlays. I mean, that one really stands out. That one's kind of dull. That one's really dull. A little bit inconsistent as far as that goes, but I mean, overall, look at the thing. Look at the neck. It's beautiful. And plus, I mean, look at that. That's a shape which cannot be named, right?
We do not speak his name.
Same with that one. So maybe they kind of watch it on that stuff. I don't know. It's one reason I went ahead and snatched them up, because it's like, okay, these probably aren't even going to be available all that long. And I think they're already sold out for the moment. You might get lucky and go on there and find one of these. But see, this one was damaged. See the corner right here? This was damaged in shipping. It kind of got this corner a little bit. I can still glue that up. It'll still be fine. I'll still use that neck, but I did let them know that there was a problem in the shipping. And this one was missing a nut. This one has a nut, and I don't know if that's bone. It sure looks like it might be bone. It looks like it might be bone, but I mean, the quality of the wood, once again, man, really nice maple. Nice maple. Skunks, good skunk stripe. It's got some flame in it. You see the flame there? It's quarter sawn. Just a good chunk of maple, man. It's interesting because it's a maple fretboard on. It's maple on maple with a skunk stripe. Same on this one. Once I finish this neck, that's gonna look really nice. That flame will start coming out. You see the flame in it. Just, I couldn't be happier with the necks, honestly. I mean, the only thing that I could be happier is if that hadn't happened in shipping, but what are you gonna do, right? Well, I'll go ahead and do a little bit of fret work on the fret ends. They're not bad, but they could be improved somewhat. This neck right here, the Strat neck, is probably gonna go on this body. This is some old body. I don't know what this is. I don't know. You tell me, maybe you'll know. Some old Japanese guitar, probably from the 70s, late 70s or early 80s, but it's a plywood body. And this is the only Strat body that I even have at the moment. Not the best body in the world, but it will do for what we're doing, just a, you know, a parts build. I probably won't use this pick guard because I still have a pick guard from the last time I ordered some Temu stuff. I've got this one I think I might use because it's a nice tortoise. So we'll probably use this pick guard on the white, which I really like the look of that. And I think that right there is going to be pretty kick-ass. I'm not sure what I'm going to do in this video quite yet because I have several options. But I also have this guitar. This is a 70s, 75 to 78, somewhere in there probably is my guess. Matsumoku made, obviously Les Paul copy, bolt-on neck copy, Electra. And this is, you know, full binding on the body. as well as the neck. Plastic nut, which we would like to replace. That used to be gold hardware, and now it's like silver. Somebody drilled a hole in the headstock. I don't know what they were thinking. They must have had a hole in their own head to do that. It's like, we're gonna, well, it's just a wall hanger, you know, and they drilled a hole in it just to hang it on the wall, I guess is what they were doing. I don't know. Again, I've just stopped trying to figure people out. They make such little sense, especially over the last few years, you know, they've made such little sense. I feel like I'm from an alien planet most of the time. Anyway, actually though, I mean, a pretty good looking guitar overall. I like just how old it looks, you know, with all of the finish checking and everything. And I'm guessing that this is an original pickup. I don't know if this is a Matsumoku or maybe a Maxon style pickup. I don't know, but that's original. This is something else that's been changed out. It'll be interesting to see what that is when we pull it out of there. This tailpiece, you'll see it goes all the way around, so it's not like a Gibson. It doesn't come off when you take the strings off. It actually stays on the post, which I think that's actually probably superior to Gibson's design, if I may say so. We've got some problems with the electronics. This knob just spins, and that's not just the knob, that's the actual pot. It's just loose, completely loose, broken, spins. The other pots are they seem to be okay, but we're not going to use them. They're junk. Made in Japan right there on the neck plate. Got a multi-piece neck here with what looks like maybe a maple and walnut, possibly. I think 2252 is the model number, and then it's got a serial number there. A friend of mine named John Thornburg curates a website called the River City Amps Electra Pages, and it's a really unique, interesting history of electric guitars. This particular model number, the 2252, was indeed a Les Paul style, but it lists it there as being a red guitar. And the 2254 was the gold version of this guitar, or supposedly. So I don't know. Maybe this one was mislabeled, but it says it was introduced in 1972 and ran through about circa 1975. So it's a little bit earlier than I thought, but still within a similar time frame. The ones that are shown for the gold model, it's just looks like a one-piece maple neck instead of maple and walnut. And these were also called the Super Rock in the catalog at the time. What the hell were they thinking with that? You know what I mean? What was it? Dude, if you want to hang it up, make a piece of wire that goes around the neck or something and hang it up. You know what I'm saying? Why drill into the headstock? God, some people are so stupid. It's just completely mouth-breathing buffoons. Anyway, we may do something about that headstock, try to fill that. We're just going to get it entirely apart, clean every piece of it, reassemble it, and we're going to reassemble it with some new pickups. We'll check out the parts first that I got from them. First of all, we've got a set of tuners. These are Fender's, or Kluson style 6-to-a-side tuners that we can use on Fender. These are branded Floor, and the reason I went ahead and got these is because they were pretty cheap. I'll put the prices of everything up on the screen. And here, I got another one of those again. Nice switch. This one is a 5-way. I also got a 3-way. These are Kluson style tuners, and I think they're going to be okay for our purpose. We will see, but like I said, I was just basically taking a punt on them. It might need some lubrication. That's a bit hitchy. Got a couple of these rollers that we can install on the headstocks. Like I said, there's a 5-way switch. We have a football jack for a Strat. This one already actually has the jack. I couldn't remember whether it did or not, so I went ahead and ordered another one that was so cheap. I said, why not? Got this set. These are bone blanks for nuts and saddles. There's 3 saddles and 3 nuts. They also give you some sandpaper in there as well, like several sheets of it, which I didn't even expect. I don't think that was even in the listing that I recall. But anyway, it's there. And these are unbleached. I kind of like the unbleached look. It just, as soon as you look at it, you know it's bone when it's unbleached. A lot of times when it's bleached and you look at it, it's so white, you know, it could be plastic. Here is another one of these switches. This one is a 3-way for a telly. So we've got this part for that telly. Now, I might as well actually separate these out. So that 5-way switch is for the Strat, so we'll put that with the Strat. Those rollers, I'll put that with the Strat, because we'll probably do that one first, I'm guessing. That's with the Strat. And these tuners will probably go with this Strat as well, so we're going to put the tuners with it. Alright, so there's the tuners. So that's part of that build. We'll get another pile going for this build. Now this, we're going to need to make a nut for this, so I will go ahead and put this kit with this in this pile. This is for something else. I've got yet another project that I could use this for. I saw it, I said, oh, I think I got a guitar that I need one of those for, so I went ahead and grabbed that. Here's another thing for the Strat. Now, you'll notice I don't have a bridge on this guitar right now. I think the bridge that came with this body, I do have it somewhere. I'm going to dig it up. I'm pretty sure. But I've got a set of saddles here. Okay, so they even give you the adjustment key for this saddle set, which is kind of cool. But this set, the reason I got it, I think it was about 10 bucks. I'll put the actual price up. It was $9 and something for this set of saddles. But the weight of the saddles alone, look at these. Oh yeah, man. These are really nice brass saddles. And they look really well machined. In all the pictures that I saw, all the machining looked really nice on them. I'm seeing about wiggling those. There's a little tiny bit of wiggle in that, but it's not that bad. But we'll go through those, man. We'll give those a good solid review, because if these are nice, I'm going to order another set of these, probably, or two possibly. But those are going to go on our Strat bridge, so we'll put those with that. Okay, so this set of pickups you can get for like 10 bucks, and they come in various colors. I got this one in cream. There's been a lawsuit recently over dual cream pickups. DiMarzio claims to own the trademark on dual cream pickups, which is something they applied for, I don't know, back in the 70s maybe, and nobody else has been able to make dual creams in the US since then. Anyway, there's a neck and there's a bridge, and these pickups are going to go on this guy. So we're not going to put these pickups back in. We're going to stick these bad boys on here instead for this kind of deal at the end, right? Yeah, that's going to be pretty. That's going to be pretty cool. And this is this doesn't feel bad. And if it's half decent, I mean, for 10 bucks, you can't. Yeah, I mean, that's giving it away, right? It's got all the hardware and stuff for it too. What else we've got? Oh yeah, here's another set. I got a couple different sets of saddles because I wanted to try these out. So I got the brass set of saddles, but I also got these, and it's just really interesting about these. I'll show you. I don't know if I really even have to ask you what they remind you of, because it says it right on there. I don't know how it says it right on there, but it does. And anyway, it's a full set of these saddles, and I'll put the price up there. And, you know, are they of the same quality of the thing that they're imitating? I guess we'll find out, won't we? I will tell you one thing, the actual part that they're imitating, those have a tendency to rust pretty badly all the time. It's not like they're up against something that's, you know, impossible to match, because even the original parts aren't all that great, if I'm honest. That's probably the better set of saddles between those two, but I'll put those over here because we might check out maybe, you know, one of each and put a string on it or something and ring it out and see what it sounds like. I got one of these. This is a strap lock, but I only got one of them. I don't know why, because the listing was confusing. I thought it was a pair of them, but it's not. It's more of like a Dunlop sort of style strap lock. Also went ahead and picked up some pots. These pots are going to go with this project. I think they're the 500Ks. I got a 3-way switch. This switch actually looks really good. From what I could tell in the photos, it looks like it's going to be a half decent switch, so we'll put it with that project as well. Had a little bit of money left over after shopping, because they give you a certain budget when you do a video for Temu, and had like $1, $2 left over or whatever. So I went ahead and picked up another one of these tuners, because these are, I mean, these are fantastic little tuners for the money. Also went ahead and picked up this set of Les Paul stuff, like pick guard and back plates. It's like the, you know, complete plastic set for a Les Paul style guitar. But this is really what I got it for, because we're going to use it on this project too. So we'll end up with something with this stuff. End up with something that kind of, you know, looks like this-ish. Now I already know that this isn't going to fit exactly. If you look right here around the pickups, it's not going to fit. So I'm going to have to modify this pick guard to work, but we'll get it modified and get it working. But we're going to end up with something that looks, you know, kind of like that. I like Les Pauls with pick guards. Sue me. This is a set of Strat pickups, so we already know which project it's going to go with. It's going to go with this project here. These are Al Nicole 5 pickups. And look at that. V70N. Is that neck maybe? But, dude. A set of Al Nicole Strat pickups for the price that these were at, I was like, oh my god, I can't even imagine. Yeah, look, they even have them labeled. A V70 imp. There's middle, there's neck, and that's going to be bridge. Yeah, they even have them labeled. So, but yeah, I mean, cloth wire. It's got the like the fiber base on there, just like a, you know, just like a real set of Fender ones. That's crazy, right? And it's got, oh shit, it's even got beveled pole pieces. Look, it's even got beveled pole pieces, except for that one. That one's shaved a little bit flat. They probably had to adjust that one slightly. But the rest of these are nice and beveled. I mean, I can't wait to see what these things sound like, but that's what these are going in this project over here. So what do you think we ought to do? I think we could build a complete guitar here with everything we've got. We could also do this one, just completely take it apart and revamp it and spruce it up. And then we've got a telly neck and a switch. I've also got this really cheap Glary that was sent to me, I don't know, several years ago. And the neck is really nothing special on it. The body's really nothing special. There's actually not a single special part on this thing. But the body is, I'm pretty sure, solid. And I think it's basswood, which is fine. And the finish is okay on the body. You know, it's got a decent looking black finish on the body. So maybe this, right? Possibly. This is the same number of frets. This is 22 frets. Yes, indeed. See, this is a 21 fret. So this wouldn't work. I wouldn't be able to put this neck on that body. So that'll have to be another project for another day, this one. Project with the most Temu parts is obviously going to be this guy, but I think this guy might be the most rewarding, because it's right now that thing is in a really sad state, and I would like to see it return to its former glory, or, you know, better than factory even. Okay, dudes, so we've decided we're going to rehabilitate this Electra guitar. First thing to do is get these old strings off and just completely disassemble the thing. This is why I don't want anybody wrapping strings at the headstock post, because it makes it a real pain in the ass to any guitar tech who's changing strings. You want to be able to clip these and yank them off of here fast. And if some idiot has wrapped the strings up here, it makes it twice as difficult, makes it way more likely that you're going to mar up the headstock, because you're going to have to get a pair of pliers or something up there after the things. So That's why I say don't do it. And those of you, well, I've been doing that for 40 years. Well, you've been pissing off your guitar tech for 40 years. Well, I'm my own guitar tech. Well, you've been wasting your own time then. You aren't going to convince me that you're right. Not on this one. Then the other thing too is observe this tailpiece. It has not fallen off. It hasn't marred up the finish just because I clipped a bunch of strings. You know, usually the first thing that happens when you clip strings on a Gibson is the tailpiece will fall down and, you know, scrape its way across the finish on the back side of the guitar here, but not so with this one. It's actually secured there, which is, I mean, that's an improvement, right? I would have to say that that's an improvement over Gibson's design.
That's impossible! Search your feelings. You know it to be true.
HTF bridge. So that's what we're rocking with here. I'm gonna take all this stuff out and just give it a real clean. See a little piece of straw right there? So they put that on there for some reason. I'm gonna leave it on just because I may come to find out later that that's exactly the right fix. What am I missing? Why is Gibson half open on one end? It doesn't make any sense. That thing is nice and hefty as well. Man, that's heavier than a Gibson piece. That's solid brass. I mean, let's do that. I guess get these off too, because these pots, all these pots are gonna go. I don't think I have a rocket socket big enough for that. Yes, I do. That's a 15. What's on the back side of that? Is that paper? Looks like paper. Just go ahead and desolder the pickups. Nichion, not Nichicon, Nichion. On this design, they put the tone knobs at the bottom. They put both tone knobs on the bottom, and they put both volumes on top. Just to avoid confusion, I'm gonna do it the Gibson way. Wow, that thing, you know, that's never been off of there, has it? Let's see, check that out. You can see we've got some plies up here on the top, and then there's a thicker piece there. What is going on over here? Oh, they've got the ground wire. Come on, get off of there. And here we go with the tape. There's always some tape. Remember I said one of the pickups was changed? So I took this electrical tape off of this little joint right here that they had spliced in. Look at what I found under here. Look at this. Look at this crap. Oh my God. Wow. Look at that. It's just wrapped around. It wasn't even soldered. Okay, curious what the pickups look like. Yeah, I don't know. Some kind of import. It's a weighty little thing. Whatever it is, it's a 3 conductor. What do you think this pickup is? It's pretty thick. I mean, and then you've got what look like 2 big ceramic magnets down here. I don't know. What is it? Okay. Yeah, like I said, that's definitely the original pickup in this thing. You just tell by the patina. It's been in there for a long, long time. It is what would have come in here, so that's correct. Now, that would be the original switch for sure, and these are not the greatest switches, even in the best of times. And we are going to replace that with this part that I got from Temu that looks 10 times better. Normally you would think, oh, a Japanese made part versus a Chinese made part. Oh, the Japanese part surely would win, right? No. Not if you're talking about 1970s Japanese and 2020s Chinese. That's a little bit different. This is actually a smooth operating switch, and it works the same way that Gibson style switches work. You can see the contacts in here, and this pushes them in and out. So this can always, you can always come in here and clean this switch as well very easily. Whereas, you know, switches like this are not nearly as easy to clean. You would have to lift these little tabs, take this little phenolic wafer out of there, and, you know, clean it that way. Okay, before I rewire any of this guitar, I'm gonna give it a good clean up. I'm just gonna wipe it down with a standard wet wipe, like a baby wipe. Just basically wiping down the grime off of it, you know. Not too worried about that right there, but nice to get some of it off. It's probably an old Coke or something got spilled down the side of it and then got seeped up under there. You know, I'm sure that that's probably exactly what that is. Like a Coke or a Pepsi from the, or a Dr. Pepper or something from the 1970s, you know. Got spilled and seeped up under there. You can even hear the crustiness. I actually love this finish. I love the finish checking and everything on this. I like the color of it. It's not quite a Gibson color. I like the patina of it. I like how battered it is, and I don't know, man. It's just got a thing. It's got a presence, doesn't it? Okay, all the metal parts, all the bridge, tailpiece, neck plate, screws, all of that stuff, I'm going to put in a ultrasonic cleaner. Okay, so the pots that I got 250K pots. So these go actually to the Strat. I got these for the Strat to try it on that. So I'll put that with these with the Strat, and I'll grab some 500Ks. But just to let you know, these are right on par with the other Chinese pots that I've gotten in the past. These are full-size Chinese pots. Yeah, these seem okay. You know, they're not the quietest thing in the world. They're not the smoothest thing in the world. But if you lubricated these up, they would smooth up a little bit, and I think they'd still operate just fine. Probably pretty decent pots, and definitely worth the price. If you're hanging out with your daughter and making a fake robot, yeah, don't use your helping hands for his actual hands, or you'll be stuck with him forever. Okay, so I'm using these 1962 Aerovox capacitors in this project. These are old USA made, actually made in Massachusetts, They are pulls from an old amplifier or some project. Pulled them out of that, and we're using them slowly for tone capacitors because they're perfectly fine for that purpose. Since there's no real voltage to speak of, we want to make sure we don't get any solder down inside of there, because that would be a disaster. That would basically screw up the pot. Anytime you're soldering something to the back of the pot, make sure you warm up the work before you try to add a whole ton of solder. I mean, you add a little bit, let it spread around, but let the work all warm up really well, and it'll just be easier going overall. See, not difficult. There's one of our tone pots with capacitor attached. We'll do another one. Okay, and there's that one. That one had a little bit of a burn on it, but that's okay. But see, these were only 200 volt capacitors even to begin with, and not good in amplifiers, but will definitely work in a tone circuit. Love that Aerovox logo. Old school looking logo. It's cool. I decided to go ahead and shield this switch cavity as well. I know it's not necessary, but I went ahead and did it. Because why not? And if you're going to do the cavity, you also have to do the cover so that you get 360 degree shield. Okay, so this switch fits just fine, but you can see that it's a bit close after putting, especially after putting the shielding in here. The terminals are a bit close over here to the wall, which is shielded to ground. So if one of those touches, that's going to cut out. So I'm going to do something about that. I'll either bend these outward and around a little bit so they're further away from the wall there, or not sure. We'll do something there. Okay, I ran this through twice, and I would say that took a lot of crap off of there, wouldn't you? Look at the color of that water. Wow. Use some zip ties to bundle these wires together that are going up to the switch, and put the slack of the wires up here in the switch cavity so I didn't have to strip them again, but that's got that nice and clean. Used an old string clipping to do the grounds between the pots. So yeah, that's looking pretty good so far. Used a couple of zip ties, one here to kind of bundle those wires together. And these also, these knobs, these came from Temu as well. Got these in another Temu haul, and I think they're going to look pretty good on this guitar. Now we'll get the pickups installed. Getting these pickups installed, and these pickup surrounds, I'm not really sure which way originally this was supposed to go, because this pickup was replaced and it was this way, but it kind of looks like it's cocked too far forward. It has a funny look about it I don't really like. So if we're gonna put some of this 80 grit sandpaper on a piece of paper here. We need a piece of paper because this is adhesive backed, and we don't, obviously we don't want to stick it to the guitar, but we do want to be able to use it on the top. And what this is going to do is since this, you know, this top is arched, we're going to contour this exactly to the top, and I am actually going to turn this backwards from where I found it originally because it's sitting a little bit flatter. And I think that's kind of what I want it to do, is sit just a little bit flatter. So alright, well, that's at least kind of following the contour of the top, but it was just really funky and wonky the way that the pickups were setting in the top, and I didn't like it, so I've shaved that down. That's a little bit better and something definitely I can live with now. So okay, so the wiring is all complete. So far the Temu switch is working great. The Temu set of pickups, which were only 10 bucks, which is unbelievably cheap, they seem to be working great. Anyway, that is all done. The shielding seems to be working very well. Treble pickup is about 15K. Neck pickup is 7.8K. Pickups installed, electronics completely done. Let's start getting this thing back together. Alright guys, we are back with this Electra. It's been a little while because I've been very sick. I took ill, I don't know, about a week and a half or so ago, maybe 2 weeks now. You can see here I've plugged the hole and did this with a dowel that I made. I actually cut this round dowel out of a big square piece of wood that came inside of a cigar box of all things. It was the only piece of wood that I had that was kind of darker grain. I don't have a lathe to make one of these, so I had to actually just sit here and sand it. But sanded it to size, or what I thought was the correct size. And when I first put it in here, it was a bit tight, so I thought, well, you know, tighter is probably better, right? It's gonna hold nice. But when I got it in, the wood actually split right along the seam, and that wouldn't have been so bad except on the front of the headstock. It split right down through here, and I don't know if you can see it or not, but it actually split right through the diamond pearl inlay from this point all the way down, and basically up here on the top as well. It split basically all the way down when I put that dowel in. So I was like, oh crap. So came in here, I gathered up the pieces of the diamond that I could and put them back in place. And actually I had this one down here all filled in nice with some white pearl shavings that I had made. But for whatever reason, when I went to put the super glue over the top of this whole area, which is what I wanted to do to kind of seal it in, it moved out of the way. So this area right here, you can see a little bit right there. I'm not that worried about that. It's not a huge deal. By the time I'm done with this though, it'll be back to flat, and I don't think you'll be able to notice it very much. This is all super glued in. I've got the area around the dowel pretty much built up past the flat area, so I'll be able to sand this, finish it, you know, wet sand it, finish it, wet sand it, hopefully get a couple of coats of clear on this headstock, and you won't really see any of this like it is right now. On the back though, you can see the rest of the dowel is still there, so we're going to cut this dowel down, and we're going to get some more shavings and fill in the spots back here where it's kind of gouged out. But first we've got to get rid of these tuners, so we'll go ahead and plop those off of here. I have cleaned these tuners up, but this will give us a chance possibly to take them apart here and get some grease in those as well. Why are truss rod cavities always so full of crap? Even expensive guitars, they're always full of crap under the truss rod cavity. Okay, we're gonna go with our big Japanese fret saw. I think that'll do the trick without marring up the headstock. And we've got a bunch of glue on here. Might as well saw through that big blob of glue I got on there. There we go. Okay, now obviously we got a whole bunch of scratches here to contend with, but that's in the top layer of finish, and we should be able to buff that all out.
I'll be able to buff this out, no problem. Oh yeah.
I know for a fact already I'm going to need to dye this, and we're going to use walnut to do it. At least I think we are. It might be a bit dark. Alright, so this is what I'm going to shave from, so I'm going to dye this. I'm going to try to let this dye also penetrate pretty far down in here, so I'm going to dye it and then shave it and dye it and shave it, hoping that the shavings themselves will actually retain some of the dye. Well, it's not exactly what I had hoped would happen there. First of all, the you can see it's very, very red. So the dye looks nothing, you know, after it gets wet, looks nothing like what I had hoped. I probably should have went ahead and used the walnut. That's all right. Actually, for now, I'm just going to let it sit. When it's done, you know, we'll sand it and see where we are with it. Okay, while we're waiting for the glue to dry on the neck, we can go ahead and work on this pick guard. So I'm pretty sure I want black, because I mean, honestly, I think that's probably the wrong type of cream. It's probably just a slightly different cream than I would want. I don't know, that might look all right too. Might have its own thing, but I think I'm actually going to go with black for sure. So I want that to sit way up there like that. I'm going to have to carve out quite a lot of this actually. Yeah, I think that'd be okay right there. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's just, you know, kind of enhances it a little bit, I think. All right, that is one pick guard attached. Okay, the front of this headstock, we can go ahead and begin wet sanding it, and I think I want to start probably with some 400 grit-ish. 180 is probably too aggressive. 220 might do it. Might actually have to go down to 220. Get a little bit slightly more aggressive on this part. Now, of course, the idea here is to blend. We just want to blend everything back flat. Yeah, that's coming along. It's getting there. It is cool that this has the lawsuit era Gibson style headstock on it though, because it wasn't too long after this that they actually changed it, their headstocks. I think they went in 74 or 75 they went to a different headstock. One little spot right here I'm trying to get down to, and if I can get down to that and get that out, I think I'll be pretty happy with this. See if I can keep going and get, maybe I'll get lucky and get that out of there. The idea of wet sanding is it's gentler and it won't burn the finish that's already there. Now this has some kind of poly finish. I don't know exactly what it is, but you know, a lot of this white that you're seeing that's bubbling off is the poly finish that I'm taking off the headstock. Some of it is probably the super glue that was on there too, that I put on there to seal all of this in. But we're gonna do more poly finish on this. I'm not sure exactly what finish I'm gonna put on this, but I am going to put some kind of poly finish over the top of this. By the time we get that clear on, most of this is going to disappear. We won't be able to see most of this, and I will come in and touch up a couple of the areas where the crack was here, and I'll you know, blacken it in just a tad in a couple of these little areas, and you'll probably never see that. You'll never see it that anything happened there, or you know, you'll be able to see it, but it won't stick out. All right, I think that's probably going to get it. I'm going to leave it at that, and we'll get some overspray clear on this, and I think it's going to start disappearing pretty rapidly after that. All the problems, and then we'll come back and we'll do this, and we'll blend this in. All this red right here, we'll get rid of this red. Definitely is better than having a big hole in the headstock. Wouldn't you agree? I'm going to try on the back of the headstock here just for a second, and I want to see where it gets me. Yeah, that's going to take forever with sandpaper. I think I might want to Dremel that down just a little bit, and then we'll come back and do more sanding. Now we're getting somewhere. I mean, heck, even if I left it right like that, that's tons better than it was. Okay, so it's time to spray some finish on this headstock, and as you can see there, I've already sprayed a couple of coats, pretty thick coats actually, probably too thick, of some Krylon triple thick crystal clear glaze number 0500. Took me forever to figure out what this stuff actually is, but I had to actually go to the MSDS and finally found out what this stuff is. It contains several ingredients. The main one is styrene hydrocarbon copolymer. Styrene copolymers, they're kind of used to make you know, a lot of this sort of thing, like coatings and synthetic rubbers and things like that. It does actually leave a pretty good finish, and it is sandable. I left it for several hours and let it kind of set up in between wet sanding. The main thing is just getting enough on there that I can sand it and fill all of the low spots, because that's essentially what you're doing whenever you're wet sanding, is you're trying to take off enough of the coat that you just put on to try to get down to even out all the low spots. It's the low spots that you're really worried about. But anyway, so several rounds of this, of spraying coats on and then wet sanding and spraying more coats on and waiting and wet sanding again, and I was using I believe it was 220 grit sandpaper on this portion of the wet sanding, and then later on I would move to like 320, and then to like 600, and then eventually to 1000 and 2000 grit. So that's my method for doing this. It's a pretty standard method, works on a lot of different finishes, and I've just found out as a result of this, it actually works on this Krylon triple thick crystal clear glaze 0500 as well, which is like I said, some kind of a weird compound I had never heard of before, so you learn something every day. Still a couple of waves. There's a little wave right there. Most of that will be actually covered up with the truss rod cover, but there's still a little bit of a wave right there, a little low spot there, low spot there. It's not easy to do finishes well, but this is going to take a little while. This round of sanding is done. You can kind of see the waviness and what I'm up against here. You can see the low spots, the high spots. It's real easy when everything is dried off after you get that sanding, because you know, the low spots will always stick out because they'll be glossy if you're using a glossy finish. And you can see the little bit of waviness still in this part. I can actually even feel it right in through here. I probably could keep sanding this just a little bit further, but I'm gonna leave it at this and do another round of spraying. Put another coat or two on it, let that cure up, and then come back and do some more sanding. Because I think if I build it up a little bit more, some of that will settle down in these low spots, obviously, and maybe even things out a little bit more. But that's kind of the idea. You build it up, you sand it, you build up sand, 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 and you just keep alternating with that, and eventually you get something that is, you know, is level and slick. Okay, here's the magic part where we wipe this down and see if we're getting close. After several rounds of fresh coats and wet sanding, I think we're pretty much there. We're gonna do more wet sanding with finer grades of sandpaper. We've got a little bit of bumping right in here and maybe a little bit in here. By the time we get that sort of more wet sanding and polished out, there's a little bit of a low spot there. Maybe one right there too around this area. I mean, getting that perfect is always going to be a challenge just because of what we started with, but I mean, that is tons better than what we started with. Okay, I believe this is my 320. I'm going to go with this now. It ain't perfect. It's got a little bit of a waviness in here, but by the time we get all the strings and everything on there, you're never going to notice it. Okay, now we're lubricating all these tuning keys. I've cleaned them all, lubricated with 3-in-1 oil first, and I'm going to leave some white lithium grease on the inside.
On CD, and that's it. But I mean, that's their debut full-length album I own on CD. I have single cover, music, but there's so much. I you know, when I come across this, so sometimes I'm
Okay, as we turn our attention to doing the fretwork, actually the fretwork's already done, and to do that I've used this leveling block instead of this one. This is my old one that I've used for ages now, and this is the new one that I got from Temu, and yeah, it cuts pretty good. I think this is going to be a good replacement for this one when it finally does completely wear out. Also, we are going to have to cut a new nut, and I have some nut files from Stu Mac already, but they have these at Temu also, which we are going to check out. Yeah, I mean, so far looking at them, they look fairly impressive. I mean, I think they're going to be okay. Okay, so we have gotten this guitar done at long last. I did go ahead and change these, although the originals look pretty good on there too. And I actually thought about leaving the originals, the original knobs on there. I do like that look. Something about this, after looking at it for a few minutes, really appealed to me. I kind of like that. Plus, I splashed a little cream on the tip. Everyone knows how much I like splashing a little bit of cream on that tip. The pickups, those cream Chinese pickups, came out looking awesome. The frets on this are what I would call like a fretless wonder style. They are very, very low, kind of like some of the 70s Gibson Les Paul Custom guitars that it's kind of trying to mimic. It does play really good. If you go to bend, that's when you kind of notice it's kind of more difficult to bend, just simply because of how low the frets are. But I was able to actually get the action very, very low, replace that nut for a bone nut. Also, this block inlay right here, this one was popping up on the edge here, so I had to glue it down. And of course, all that hard work we did on the headstock paid off. It looks a lot better than it was. You can still kind of see that there was something there, but at first glance, you don't really see it. Actually, I like the look of this thing. I like the way that it sounds, even unplugged. It has a really nice resonant tone. It's a resonant guitar. this one. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, hit subscribe down below. Also, join me over on my locals page. I'll put a link down in the description or in a pinned comment. If you want to support the channel, you can do it in other ways too. I'll put those in the pinned comment as well. And for now, we will see y'all later.
Thank you.